can confirm now that today, as of December 9th, our operations are fully stabilized.
मेरा क्वेरी है मैडम 3 दिन से बिना खाए पिए सोए बूढ़ा बच्चा लोग बेंगलुरु में अटका था कल जाके नाइट को लैंड हुआ और बिना बैग के लैंड हुआ मेरा घर का चाबी उसमें मेरा पासपोर्ट उसमें बीच में आप बीच में घुसा मैं बीच में पूछा मैं घुसा भी पहले।
कल मेरी शादी हुई और आज सुबह विदाई हुई बट आके पता चलता है कि फ्लाइट डिले है या फिर कैंसिल हो सकती है तो पूरा श्योरिटी भी नहीं दे रहा कि कैंसिल है।
हम लोग ये ईटानगर जाए होलोंगी एयरपोर्ट में तो हम लोग दिल्ली से कैंसिल हो गया फिर कलकत्ता किया फिर कलकत्ता का अभी फिर कैंसिल हो गया।
4 दिसंबर को श्रीनगर टू मुंबई वाया दिल्ली श्रीनगर भी 2 घंटे डिले हुई फ्लाइट उसके बाद हम दिल्ली आ गए वहाँ पर 6 घंटे डिले हुए लेकिन जब रात को इधर पहुंचे तो लगेज मिसिंग था।
If the airline has accepted money, that means the tickets have been sold on the 2nd, 3rd and 4th day, knowing that the flight will get cancelled amounts to cheating.
Any time a FIR can be filed and the premier agency of this country may investigate and may launch the prosecution against the erring officials.
Modi Sarkar, whatever happens in civil aviation, Modi is responsible. Therefore, he should be held responsible. There should be an answer from the government on that.
You're being arm twisted. You're being led by a monopoly run by Indigo Airlines to decide on their terms and conditions how they want to function in this country.
ये सब हुआ है एक घोटाले के कारण तो ये सीधे सीधे भ्रष्टाचार है भारत सरकार के नगर विमान मंत्रालय का और उस पर जवाब नहीं दे रही है।
Hello and welcome to Frankly Speaking. Mr. Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu, the Union Civil Aviation Minister, thank you for sparing time because this has been a week of distress, of stranded passengers, of funerals being missed, of weddings being missed, of exams being skipped. Clearly there is anger all around and there are several questions that the people of India today need to ask you. Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you.
Mr. Naidu, I want to ask you, it seems like from the outside, and this is what people are saying, that we knew this was going to happen and we didn't do anything in time. That is the biggest charge against you. Was the ministry, was the regulator sleeping on the wheel, is the question people of India ask tonight.
No, that is definitely not true in the sense that this was supposed to be happening. Because if you look at the history of how we are doing the operations and how we advise the airlines to do the operations, we do thorough stakeholder consultation with sitting with all the airlines and looking at their schedules very, very in-depth way and then trying to assign them considering all the aspects. And you have to always remember that the Indian civil aviation is a continuously growing sector. You want to cater for the demand also that is being created. So keeping that in mind, and then you have to keep the safety in mind, and then you have to keep the passenger rights in mind. So compared to all of these are things which the ministry, the regulator, everyone focuses on, discusses deeply with the stakeholders, and then we assign it. And if it comes specifically to this week of distress that we are talking about, this in one way has been initiated by the November 1st flight duty time limitations that have come into place. And why do we do the FDTL? Because we care about the safety of the people. We care about safe operations to happen in the country. We care about the pilot safety, the fatigue that they face. So which is why we have implemented new FDTL guidelines and we have put 2 phases. So that you should ask me, why are we putting 2 phases? We have put 2 phases so that the airlines has sufficient time to address this issue. First was on 1st July 2025 and the second phase came in 1st November 2025. So there was ample stakeholder consultation. It was not something which was unanticipated.
Well, then if there was stakeholder consultation that happened, I want to ask you, Two basic questions. The international norms came into operation in January of 2024. Between January of 2024 to January of 2025, it required the High Court to give orders that this FDTL needed to be implemented. It wasn't as if the consultations and your worry led to the implementation. It was a High Court order. Having said that, you said two phases, July 1st and November 1st. But November 1st, it wasn't implemented. May I just read out how many flights were cancelled in the month of November itself? It is about 1,232 flights cancelled by Indigo alone in November. 755 of them cancelled due to crew and flight duty time limitation constraints. 1,200 plus flights had been cancelled by this airline only in November. December is when the crisis hit. In November, what was the regulator doing? What was the ministry doing?
In November, if you look at the facts properly, there have been certain days where the cancellations were absolutely zero. We have been thoroughly observing the situation, not only for Indigo, we have been observing it for all the airlines. All the airlines, due consultation was done before the implementation, and also the idea was let the airlines also be prepared to do this. So the consultation was going on. In the meantime, when the High Court orders were also passed, we respected the High Court orders. We gave the timelines. That was all in consultation with the airlines. This is the first thing that we have to understand, that in implementation of the FTTL, the airlines was also partner. Don't take away the responsibility of the airlines here. They have to be responsible, accountable in this issue. And if there was a difficulty, then it has to be faced by all the airlines. And within Indigo, you're seeing why I'm trying to mention this point is we have to understand why exactly this has happened. November, you're mentioning certain cancellations. November, there was
certain, sir. 1,200 plus cancellations.
Two other things. There were certain other issues of the weather issues, and there were also the volcano issue that was happening, which was diversions were supposed to happen. So there are multiple other issues also which have come in.
755 cancellations only on FDTL in November.
Yes, and then we have discussed with them. We had a meeting on 1st December 2025. 1st December 2025 on FDTL with Indigo. On FDTL with Indigo. We have given all the chance for Indigo to speak with us on FDTL. They have asked for clarifications. Whatever clarifications we were supposed to give after due consultation, we have given them. Even after that, it was Indigo which has messed up its own internal crew management and crew rostering. This is exactly the point that I want to make.
So if Indigo has messed up its internal systems, why are you accommodating them? Every time there is a press release and it says that Indigo has profusely apologized. They don't even know what their internal issues are. They have said so in a press release. They have not appeared before you. Every time the ministry has accommodated them, every time the ministry has relaxed the norms for them, you have given them time till February. You have cancelled and taken back your FDTL norms till such time that Indigo is comfortable. I want to ask you, are we running airlines here for the comfort of the people of India or for the comfort of the profiteering of an airline called Indigo Airlines?
Navika ji, let me make it very, very clear once again that the ministry, the government is there for the people and not any company and not any airline or not any other people who are behind this. Let me just rephrase it this way. I'm the Minister of Civil Aviation of the country. There is an incident that has happened. It is the responsibility of me to ensure the normalcy is also there. There are still hundreds and thousands and lakhs of people who still want to travel, reach their destinations. I'll take the point which I've already mentioned. Air travel is an emergency travel most of the times. They want to reach within the stipulated point of time. And they want to reach the destination for many important things. So is it not my responsibility to normalize the stabilize the activity that has been happening? So which is why for a temporary period we have done so, finding the issue, the root cause that this might be the issue, to restabilize, reboot the operations. It was done as a temporary measure, reducing the operations. We are having curtailed operations right now. We are not running that full capacity what they have had.
They are not in a position to run it.
They are not in a position to run it, and we are not running it at the full capacity to restabilize, because here we all have to keep in mind that the safety is of the first priority.
My friend, you have rolled back FDTL.
This is to reboot the roster.
Has been compromised.
This is to reboot the roster. This is not to compromise on the safety. Safety risk assessment has been done, considering the roster that they have, considering the operations with which they are doing. Your fact comes to the point if I'm doing it at that grand scale of operations which they have envisioned. But we are doing curtailed operations here. The roster needed to be rebooted, and which is why to immediately get back onto the track for aviation, for all the necessary people who still wanted to travel in this time, it was a necessary thing. And we have put very strict guidelines on that it is for a temporary period. And it is also going to be verified how they are going to get back on track. On a weekly basis, we are going to review this issue.
Mr. Mohan Naidu, my question to you is, we are 2 years behind schedule on implementing safety for passengers. So that you are doing a lot for safety of passengers is a concern that you should put aside. This really does not wash down with the people of India. Seems to be that lives are extremely cheap in this country, which is why airlines are accommodated, people are not. There are refunds, there are provisions, and it is absolutely evident with the sequence of events that Indigo had no plan. They had no plan to implement the roster duty changes, the FDTL requirements. They had no plans, and evidence suggests that to a lay person. Yet, what Indigo gets in return is accommodation, relaxation of deadlines for implementation, and a profusely apologetic statement that they put out. Not one head has rolled, not one action has been taken. And may I tell you, the human side of this. There was a lady traveling from Shillong to Kolkata, accompanying the casket of her dead husband. If you saw that, Mr. Naidu, you would sit here and cry just as that woman, hapless woman, who was waiting, and the airlines had no answers to give them. In the middle of this, if you give me an assurance that you are worried about the safety, I'm sorry, nobody in this country will believe you.
First of all, I totally sympathize with all the people of the country who have faced this distress. There is no second thought about it. Not only as a minister, as a person of this country, when people go through this hardship, it is the empathy that comes out. And I totally have it for the people. And it is with that empathy also that I'm working here, keeping a passenger-centric approach. And this has been my approach all throughout. I consider people to be the most topmost priority. And there are ways of doing things when it comes to safety, when it comes to regulations. Because there are, like you said, courts are involved. There are different organizations involved, stakeholders involved. When you have the complete consultation process of the stakeholders, what needs to be done in a month, what needs to be done in 2 months, considering the factual situation, considering the opinions and feedback from all, it might take some time. But you are arriving there, you are trying to do it. And on the other point, and the other point of the safety aspect, we have never compromised on anything. Once we have implemented, we have not gone back on anything. And here also I'm trying to specifically mention this point. The very passengers who are hurt, who are agitating, who are facing this crisis, it was important for them to reach their destinations. It was important for us to restructure the operations so that they do immediately. And in the entire process, let me make one point very, very clear, that we are not leaving Indigo at all. They are very accountable.
I haven't seen, people haven't seen any action so far. What are you going to do?
We from the ministry have advised the regulator to cut down 10% of the operations.
That's not punishment enough.
10% of the operations in the prime routes. There are multiple things. This will act as a deterrent for them. Also to encourage the competition and also to ensure the stability on operations. Second thing, we have also issued a show cause notice. We are thoroughly going into detail of the reply that has been given. Show cause notice to CEO of Indigo, CEO of Indigo. This has never been done. It has been done for the first time considering the incident. Third, we have also had a detailed inquiry which has been started. We have given them a stipulated time to work it out. because we wanted to know exactly where all they have done the mistake, and not only how we have approached to this situation. Why was it that those 2 days, 3rd, 4th, where it peaked, why was it that 3rd and 4th, they were not even able to manage this situation? Why were the passengers even at cancellation?
As we speak,
why was
76 flights, arrivals and departures have been cancelled in Delhi alone today. And we are sitting on the 9th of December. You're saying it was a 2-day period where there were discomfort? No,
Navika
sir.
ji,
it's been going on for 8 days.
Let me clarify certain things. 3rd, 4th is the time when the people didn't have any communication about the cancellations. We have cancellations today because Indigo is not able to run in its full operations. But whatever is being cancelled, in due this thing with proper time, they have been communicated. Your flight is being cancelled. You can refund. You can get a refund or rebook. So all this activity is going on. But why specifically I am mentioning 3rd and 4th? An airline which has been properly functioning for 20 odd years, and suddenly it comes to the point that it's not able to communicate to its passengers. It's not able to tell them. It's not able to tell them that
the charge against the airline is that this was deliberate. They had not prepared for the FTTL. They always knew they could arm twist the regulator and the government, and they have managed to do precisely that.
And I want to get to the bottom of this. Let me tell through you to Indigo or whoever it is. It is not just one airline. Any airline who thinks ministry is just sitting like this and just doing this, it is a strict warning to them. This is going to be an example for all of them and the future to come also, that nobody can take us non-seriously. We are going to take very, very strict action on this, and I'm very, very damn serious about this. This is how the government is going to function.
What's the timeline?
Very soon. Let us get to the report.
I want to understand. The CEO? Will you sack the CEO?
If it comes to that, definitely I will do it. I will charge them with all the penalties that is there.
Criminal action?
Definitely I will look into all of those aspects. It is not only about these things that have happened. I still sympathize. Like I'm telling you, I'm hurt, deeply hurt with all of this. For the last 7 days, I have not slept properly. I've just been sitting in the office doing continuous review meetings. My focus was on the passengers. I wanted them to travel to their destinations without any delay. I wanted all the distress they have faced to be done immediately. So whatever I do, one, I want it to be an example that anyone messes with aviation in the future. Anyone who thinks that ministry is just doing things just the way it is going to do, I'm going to set an example for that. Second thing, the people who are in distress, I want to do something for them. So we at the ministry are thoroughly looking up at the incident. We are going to see how can we do something so that the people who went through this distress also kind of get some kind of relief or benefit.
What relief or benefit? Everywhere abroad, if this is the way an airline behaves, there is compensation. Here, passengers not even offered a cup of tea. You would have seen those visuals, sir. Absolutely. I have seen them.
Absolutely.
A father standing there asking the ground staff that my daughter needs a sanitary pad. There is a couple wanting to fly for their wedding, had to attend their own reception virtually, sir. Where is the compensation? Right now, we are only talking about refunds for the cancellations that took place. Where is the compensation that the airline should pay for the hardship they have caused to the people who believed in an airline that owns 65% of market share? And that brings me to the question. 65%, yes. Are they arm twisting the market, the passengers, and the government alike?
Definitely not. I've always treated airline as an airline, not a big airline or a small airline. And my focus has been entirely on the smaller airlines. I wanted to encourage them. You go and speak to any of the airlines, how many consultations we had so that they can improve their operations. Is there anything in the policy that we can do so that the smaller airlines can improve their fleet? So this has been an approach from long before. I'm not saying this because just the incident happened. So there is no way anyone can say that the Indigo is arm twisting. And this is the action that we are taking right now. I've been talking about all the steps that we are doing. Let us wait for the inquiry report to happen. I know there is a lot of anger against this thing. There needs to be action taken, but let's just not skip the legal aspect of it. Let us follow due process.
I understand the legal aspect, but I want to ask you, and I'm asking you very straightforward. The airline made no attempt to make arrangements. This was fait accompli. It was waiting to happen. they took everything for granted and they knew they controlled the system, which is why the system buckled under pressure of passenger fury and rolled back everything. I'm asking you, an airline that believes it can actually turn around the policy on its head is actually blackmailing the system. Blackmail is criminal.
And they will
What
pay
is
for
the
it.
action and when is the action?
And
sir?
they will pay for it, and very soon we will do the action. And I'm time and again telling this fact, strongly telling this fact that action is going to be there. One on the airline.
Kab hoga
Very
ye
soon.
action?
See, we have given a 15-day period for the inquiry report.
You are waiting for people to forget their discomfort.
Not at all.
Then
at
why
all.
15 days? Why not 5 days and action?
Because we wanted to do in-depth inquiry into this. One, why the situation had
Facts
to come
are staring
to
you in the face.
There needs to be some more in-depth one, because I want to find people who are accountable also for this within the system. And we want to ensure that this kind of incident does not repeat itself in the future. There has to be some learning also from this incident. And for that,
are we here on a training ground for learning, sir? I'm asking you this. What action against DGCA?
Definitely.
DGCA should have had minute-to-minute observation of what is happening there.
Incident has happened. If I start firing people or taking action on all the people who are involved, are we not there to run the sector also? There are people waiting at the airports to fly to their destinations. So it is a responsibility for us to keep the aviation sector intact, let the sector function properly, and then take proper action so that anyone who is coming to this kind of situation future, they all know what kind of action is going to be taken. I am not skipping away from the responsibility that action is going to be taken, and it is going to be taken very soon.
At the moment,
Navika
it
ji,
seems
very
like
soon.
an honest assurance which doesn't really cut any eyes. Let me tell you where the systemic problems
ji,
are.
When the action is going to be
committee,
taken,
I don't know if anybody pays any attention to parliamentary committees anymore.
We do.
The parliamentary committee in July or August had warned about the shortages. The DGCA, which has, personnel requirement of 1,034 the last I counted, only 550 people are there. It's half empty. 50% positions have not been filled. How do you expect?
Restructuring of the DGCA happened 2 years ago, and when the restructuring happened, that is where the vacancies started rising, and in due process, all the vacancies are
running on
being filled
50% capacity.
All the vacancies, safety was not compromised at all.
But 50% capacity is fine to run the DGCA.
Process रहता है. There is a process to.
कितना time? 2 साल.
2 साल वो process.
2 साल FDTL implement करने में, 2 साल DGCA staff करने में, 2 साल Indigo पे action लेने में.
I have laid the facts in the parliament. I can give you the facts again that with thorough process, because we need technically subject matter experts to be there in that organization, and following the SSC norms, following the UPSC, whichever needs to be recruited through that process, all the norms are being followed so that the right people come and sit in that organization. So there is no delay from any fact. I can prove you that there is no delay.
It's operating on 50% and you're saying there's no delay.
In the last 4 months, in the last 4 months, we have done the recruitment for almost 190 people.
Which means it was operating on 300 staff, which is 30% of what it required 2 months ago.
This was in addition to what the number you have specified. We have done 190 odd more. And this is because of the process that is there. You should also look at the process. This is the whole bureaucratic process which is there in recruiting the people.
Is bureaucracy taking a toll on this sector, Mr. Mohan Naidu? And I'm asking you this because the dream of your government was that हवाई चप्पल वाले भी हवाई सफर कर सके.
Is it not true? Do you not believe it is true?
पर अब ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे we are on a hope and a prayer. Because सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स 2 साल से आप पोस्टपोन कर रहे हैं, अभी और पोस्टपोन हो गया. इंडिगो ने कोई तैयारी नहीं की. आप एक्शन लेंगे लेकिन 2 हफ्ते बाद, 3 हफ्ते बाद. अगर किसी प्राइवेट कंपनी में मैं आपको बताऊं, अगर इस तरह का परफॉर्मेंस होना, हेड्स बिगिन टू रोल, लोगों की नौकरियां जाती हैं, उसी से डिसिप्लिन आता है. यहां कुछ नहीं हुआ है राम मोहन नायडू जी. एक प्रोफ्यूजली अपॉलॉजी का एक प्रेस रिलीज आया है. इसको अगर कोई पैसेंजर जिसने सहा है दुख, अगर इसको पढ़ेगा ना, तो शायद वायलेंट हो जाएगा, जो सोल्यूशन नहीं है, लेकिन उसको इतना गुस्सा आएगा। मैं वायलेंस सपोर्ट नहीं कर रही हूं क्योंकि कुछ लोगों ने बदतमीजी भी की ग्राउंड स्टाफ से, लेकिन अगर आप ग्राउंड स्टाफ के अकाउंट्स सुनेंगे तो द एंटायर टॉप ब्रास ऑफ इंडिगो हैड गॉन साइलेंट फॉर दोज 3 or 4 वेरी बैड डेज। द ग्राउंड स्टाफ वाज फेसिंग, उनको पता ही नहीं था कि करना क्या है। इसके लिए कौन सी इन्वेस्टिगेशन की जरूरत है? नंबर 1। नंबर 2, माय क्वेश्चन टू यू ऑल्सो इज कि हमने बड़े बड़े बोर्ड बनाए हैं, बड़े बड़े इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर हैं, उसमें फॉर्मर सेबी चेयरमैन है, फॉर्मर ब्यूरोक्रेट्स हैं, फॉर्मर प्राइवेट सेक्टर के एक्सपर्ट्स हैं, फॉर्मर प्रेजेंट लॉयर्स हैं। क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है किसी की? Are these boards for friends and family? I'm making this point because Mr. Gangwal, who also had the shares of Indigo, had written a letter in 2019 to everybody who was anybody in the system saying that Indigo is taking the country for a ride, the airline for a ride. What action was taken?
So let me come back to this point. We are focusing on this investigation right now. One, I have told you already that we want to create an aspiration in the country for more airlines to come in. We want the aviation sector to grow. That is one process. The second thing, considering this investigation and considering Indigo and what has happened internally within it, it is very, very important for us to know completely, to do an in-depth analysis. And I am strict with the fact that we need to take action on it. You are just stressing on the fact that when are we going to take action? We are going to take action very, very soon, but we want to comply the reports. We want to look into in-depth. You're talking about multiple situations that have happened. Why shouldn't we look at all the situations that have happened? Why should we leave out some situations? Let's take the anger of certain people. Why not we look into each and every airport? Why not we look into each and every operation that has happened? Why not we look into each and every flight that has been operating? Why not we look into each and every crew roster that has happened? There is a lot of things that need to come out of this. And why has it happened? With what you're saying, if there is a full board, there is an airline with 20 years of experience, if it comes to this, why is it that it has happened? We know certain things that have happened, but we want a complete picture. Is it wrong to have a complete picture when you take proper action? An action which will set a example, which will set the discipline in the industry,
Against
which will
who?
ensure...
Against CEO Peter Albert?
Against Indigo, against the top management, let it be the CEO and let it come to
What about Mr. Rahul Bhatia, who owns
let it come
nearly
to the fact.
38%?
Let us know what has happened.
Swiss chalets, owners sit in Swiss chalets while
telling
people...
you, Navika ji,
struggle here at airports.
No one will be spared. Let it come to that. We will take action on all the people who will be responsible
you have
for
summoned, koi aaya to hai nahi.
I have already met with the management of Indigo. I've met with the CEO. We are meeting them again today. We are doing contents.
Action.
And let me tell you one thing. The first priority, the first focus of the ministry was to have the operation stabilized. We wanted the people to face the minimum inconvenience. And we are parallelly doing the investigation.
This management
we are
that made this country go through the last whole week will give us solutions, sir. You really believe that?
That we are taking action on them. Let us have the industry running. Let us have the operations going on. And I'm telling you time and again that I'm not shying away from taking action. We are doing the inquiry and we want to take action. As a minister,
criminal liability or only civil action?
Everything, all of them are going to follow.
In your investigation so far, is there a criminal liability case that is made out?
Criminal liability, whatever is there within the act and rules, everything will be taken, keeping into account the distress that has been faced by the passengers. This, Navika ji, I'm not only telling here, I've placed it on the floor of the house also.
Mr. Mohan Naidu, I also want to ask you about the DGCA. Staffing is one part of the problem. There are experts and NGOs that are in court who have come and said that Indigo actually runs the DGCA. They are the one who make the CARs. The entire DGCA is short-staffed, I don't know, short-staffed or compromised. I don't know, it's a matter of investigation for you. But this is what people who are experts in the field are saying about the DGCA. Some have even said, DG खुद बहुत अच्छे हैं, लेकिन उनके नीचे सब corrupt हैं, and he's trying to grapple. Are you aware of this situation?
No, we are trying to look into the DGCA also. And when the investigation is there, we are going to look into DGCA also.
Is there a separate committee that is looking into DGCA?
No, this will give us the picture about the DGCA also. And definitely we are going to separately look into that. And all the things which have come out, these all will be explored, these all will be thoroughly inquired. And we need to give more strength to DGCA, as what I've been saying from the beginning itself. We need to have the right people within the system. And any allegation that has come...
Is DGCA compromised according to your preliminary reports?
Not yet.
Not yet. So you're saying nothing wrong with the DGCA? Not yet,
nothing. And we are going to explore if there is an outlay of this situation coming into the DGCA also, something into the foray of DGCA where someone might have been compromised, and that will lead to very strict action in the DGCA also. And we are going to take all the feedback that is coming, either it is a rumor or either it is a story that has been spreading or a fact. We are going to take all the information that is coming to us very, very seriously, and we are going to review each and every allegation that is going to come, and necessary action will definitely be taken.
Mohan Naidu, these statements have been made on national television, so clearly the people who are making these statements must have some facts. Why should the committee not call such people to get the facts from them? Because these are not statements which are rumors which have been whispered. They have been said on national television on Times Now on various occasions. And we are happy to provide you all the names of people who have made these statements. These are in public domain.
We already have. We already have, and we are investigating.
You seem to carry an impression that DGCA में कुछ problem ही नहीं है.
नहीं, वो कर रहे हैं, वो अपना काम भी कर रहे हैं. If there are someone who is compromising on these kind of things, someone who is facilitating for this kind of things to happen, I am saying that within the DGCA also, we are going to take action on them. I am placing the fact that if someone has come to that level where they are compromising on these issues, then definitely there is an action. And I am also speaking on the national television, and I am telling you this thing.
65% market share without compromising, is this pure, healthy, transparent competition? Or do you think this is a case where the Competition Commission of India needs to look at the aviation sector, where it's an almost monopoly situation where Indigo is actually exerting control, not just over passengers, but over the entire system?
The idea of the government is to always have competition in this sector. And accordingly, we have facilitated. One airline has grown like that. There was opportunity for everyone. But everyone, you have to also understand that aviation sector is a very sensitive sector. It just purely doesn't work on the economics of supply and demand. There are many other things which flow into this. The air, fuel, the taxes around the fuel that are there, the pricing of the fuel that happens, and the seasonal demand that comes in, and the MRO aspect that comes in, and how ably are you able to maintain your planes, and how ably are you maintaining your fleet. The aircrafts that are coming in.
Try telling this to passengers and pilots, sir. पायलट्स कम कर दो, खर्चे कम कर दो, लोगों की सेफ्टी को कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर दो, लोगों के कनेक्शंस, कॉलिंग, सब कुछ कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर दो और 65% शेयर ले लो. Is that the way this airline will operate?
Definitely not. And these are day-to-day operations, daily operations of the airlines itself, and we are keeping a strict watch on it. And we are caring for the pilots and the crew.
So they have expanded their operations beyond the hiring of pilots. How are they able to do that? And how is the DGCA not noticing that the hiring of pilots is not in keeping with the increased flight routes that Indigo has?
No, here also, all the time, whenever we do the scheduling, we take a strict compliance from the airlines on how much crew they have, how are they going to do the operations, how many aircrafts they have. This is all in due consultation with the airlines itself. We are doing the process, and we are going to review this also. Now that we are seeing this issue, we are going to do an in-depth review into this on how this kind of incident. And now, Navika ji, this is not something which has been happening time and again. This is an incident which has cropped up at this specific point of time.
The reason it is unforgivable is because it was deliberate.
Yes.
The reason you believe this was deliberately done by Indigo? Are you convinced?
There seems to be some kind of intentional this thing. Let me come to that point, because the way they have been operating, the way they have control over their operations, this shouldn't have happened. Let me straight away place the fact that this is an incident which shouldn't have happened at all.
And then it was done intentionally.
Why has it come at that specific point of time? And how did it lead us into that situation? So this is something which we are thoroughly investigating. I want an in-depth review to be done, and that is what we are doing right now. And it will be followed by very strict and appropriate enforcement action.
Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu, I want to ask you, and in my early days as a reporter, I have met your father, Mr. Yeram Naidu, a very honorable member of parliament. In the 90s, we used to see him. And today, I ask you in all honesty, what will you say to those people who went through so much of hardship? I want to ask you, what will you say to those people who had to pay for a Delhi-Bangalore flight 92,000 because there was surge pricing and the regulator was literally sleeping on the wheel? At least 2 or 3 days the surge pricing happened. 92,000 to Delhi to Bangalore flights, Delhi to Patna was 57,000. What will you say to those people?
So regarding this incident, whoever has faced these hardships, I also want to say that we regret the inconvenience that has happened. We sympathize with them. This is an incident which shouldn't have happened.
Will you compensate them?
I'm not shying away from the responsibility that as ministry we need to take action. And definitely we are going to look into some kind of initiative, which will look into this thing. There are two things. One, people who have directly faced the hardship. We have to keep them also in mind while we are trying to do something to them. And the second, who would have hurt by the fares, that small gap. Because in the ministry, we have seen that if in this kind of situation, there would come a point where the fares also would rise up. And that is when we immediately release the order. But there was a short gap between the releasing of the order and this thing.
2 days, you may call it short. Common man doesn't call it short.
So in that time which was there, and definitely we are going to analyze into what has happened. And retrospectively, we are going to definitely do something.
Kitna analyze, sir? Analysis paralysis in the policy making, sir.
Let me tell you something. We want to be definite. I just don't want to say it in words. We want to do it in action.
So I want to just ask you, I just want to ask you rapid fire. Compensation for passengers for the hardships, yes or no?
Yes, in some kind of way, yes.
Some kind of way?
So, what exactly is that I'm not able to tell right now, but we are thinking about
for surge pricing, for those who have paid 90,000 tickets, will there be compensation or refunds?
We will take that into account.
I want to also ask you tonight, who are you intending to take action on? And I want to ask you simply, when there are 5 lakh PNRs which were cancelled, what is the action that you will take? Because they just held the whole country to ransom. Will it be a grounding of airline, license conditions? Will they be revoked licenses? CEO Peter Elbers, should he be sacked? Who will you hold accountable?
See, this is not choose from the options kind of thing. Let me go through the review. Let me go through the report that is going to come. And I'm telling you, all the people who are held accountable. When should we expect the report? This is for 15 days and already we have passed 3 days from the starting of this thing. And let us give that due time so that the comprehensive inquiry is being done on this. And let me tell you, no one will be spared. Anyone who is held accountable from the top to the bottom, they will be put to task. Action will be taken on them, and all kinds of actions which will be necessary, everything will be taken.
To those students who missed their exams, judicial exams.
And for that, it is a moment of lot of hardship for the passengers. I definitely, I'm telling you time and again, let us, definitely I want to apologize. Yes, I'm apologizing. I'm apologizing from my part. There is no ego for me to not apologize. I am also responsible as a minister to ensure that this sector is flying high. The sector is doing all the necessary things so that people can move across the country in a smooth and streamlined way. And when this kind of incident happened, it puts extra responsibility on me to ensure things are normalized, to ensure that people who are responsible for this are held accountable, and to ensure that these kind of situations don't arise in the future while keeping safety and the passenger rights intact, if not strengthened.
We are entering holiday season, Mr. Ram Mohan Naidu. The fact that you said you have no ego, but the fact that we are also entering busy season, how do we ensure that this never happens again?
not only for this holiday season, like I've told you, for the longer term also, we don't want any kind of situation like this happen ever again. We are definitely going to take the necessary measures, and we are not putting a long timelines on this also. You are going to see, I want to be the man of action, and I'll do that in the necessary coming days itself. We will take necessary action so that these things don't crop up in the future. And coming to the holiday season, we want to also facilitate with the maximum number of capacity that we can do. While we are doing the curtailed
whatever
operations,
curtailed operations of Indigo will be restored because people will demand.
No, this is an opportunity, Navika. Also, let's understand the business. When we are curtailing operations, we are not only curtailing 10% of the operations. That's what the ministry has advised. I'm also placing the fact here, 10% of the operations we are told that it should be curtailed. Now,
is it optional? Should be curtailed.
Should be curtailed. Should be curtailed.
Will be curtailed or should be?
Should be curtailed. So this is what we have advised the DGCA. Minimum 10%. Then if this 10% is curtailed, now you say that there is going to be a cut in the capacity. Now this is an advantage for the other airlines to come up. This is an advantage for the other airlines to fill up their capacities, to increase their capacities. It's a good opportunity for them. And the curtailing of the capacity has been done in such a way that the primary routes where there are multiple operations, so that the connectivity where there is only one single flight operating, that is not hampered. Because we want the entire country to be connected properly. So wherever there are single flight operations, single flight routes, those all will be continued. But the heavy demand routes, the peak routes where multiple operations are there, those will be curtailed. One, to encourage competition, and other so that they also can come up and fill up the space that is there.
Mr. Mohan Naidu, another not so very complimentary incident is that while these operations were curtailed, the Luthra brothers, the owners of the restaurant in Goa where the fire took place and 25 people lost their lives, took an Indigo flight to fly out of this country. People in India were suffering, but Indigo facilitated the flight of 2 passengers who actually should have paid for their sins of 25 people who lost their lives. Coincidental?
Definitely, I've been focusing more on the operations. I wouldn't want to comment on that situation yet because I'm also not thoroughly aware of that situation. I've been focusing on stabilizing the operations, giving the necessary connectivity back to the people of the country. And we are also holding the investigation right here and taking necessary steps every day, taking real-time feedback from the passengers. I'm more focused on the passengers right now, being the connectivity. So I would not want to comment on that at this moment.
In the end, I also want to ask you, बड़े लोग बैठते हैं बड़े boards पे, independent directors. ये independent directors करते क्या हैं? क्योंकि बड़े-बड़े नाम होते हैं, but are they actually monitoring the way a company, an airline in this case, is functioning? Or owners of airlines, well, वो देश में ही नहीं है, वो कभी-कभी आते हैं.
Let us go through it step by step. Let us find out what has happened, and then I'm telling you.
We're still waiting for the Air India crash report. वो कब आएगी सर?
वो भी आएगी, वो भी चल रहा है, उसका report चल रहा है. This I can't give you a strict timeline. Sir, because June, this is not
June, and we are sitting in December.
Let us not hurry on the investigation. Investigation is something which has to be very thoroughly done. These are not facts which we can just talk over the table and put a deadline and say this thing, because they have multiple aspects which are needed to be followed up with it. And this is according to
July, the preliminary report came, sir.
Yes.
Since then, it is darkness, which is why people have very little faith in investigations and time.
You have to see the investigations that have been done before also. They take the necessary amount of time that is required for them to take. There is no mandated period of investigation, because each investigation has its own nature. ऐसे भी नहीं
हमारे बच्चों के समय तक शायद आ जाएगा.
ऐसे भी नहीं है. Don't put these kind of statements. ये चलता रहेगा, because we are very, very serious about that incident. All the resources that are necessary for that incident have been provided. So there is a process that is being followed, and we want to close in all the elements of the investigation. So it is not just trying to prepare a report for someone to read. It is actually trying to do the investigation so that those kind of incidents don't repeat itself. It is a very technical aspect
so
of
there
it.
has to be a timeline. There has to be a time frame. June se lekar December tak
incidents and investigations. Navika ji, civil aviation follows the International Civil Aviation Organization guidelines. You like it or not, these are the international, because aviation is an international aspect. It's a global aspect. People are traveling not only within the country, but they travel internationally, and these are guidelines which everyone has to agree to, when everyone has to comply and follow also. And investigations also come under that strict process.
We come back to square one.
Investigation also comes under this. This is something, Navika ji, before you were born also. I'm probably, I don't know the date, but before you were born also, these conventions, they have all met, and this is something they have agreed upon.
कन्वेंशन तो FDTL लेके आई थी 2 साल पहले, आपने इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया, अब आप मुझे उसी का हवाला दे रहे हैं।
पहले सरकार लेके आई थी और उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्रोसेस ही था, वो उसके कंसल्टेशन चल रहे थे, कब करना है, कैसे करना है, प्रिपरेशन क्या है। इसी बीच में कोर्ट का ऑर्डर आया था, डेट्स हमने दिए कि ये डेट्स में what is agreed upon will be selected in the 2 dates and will be implemented. Everything is clear in that.
आपने कल राज्यसभा में स्टेटमेंट दिया, आज लोकसभा में दिया, ऑपोजिशन ने वॉकआउट किया और वो आपका रेजिग्नेशन डिमांड कर रहे हैं। आप ऑपोजिशन को क्या कहेंगे?
वो पॉलिटिक्स ही कर रहे हैं, हम पीपल के साथ हैं। वी आर इनटू द स्टेबलाइजेशन ऑफ ऑपरेशंस राइट फ्रॉम डे वन. We are not shying away from the responsibility on what needs to be done. I have been very clear right from day one itself, since the incident started, what the ministry has been doing, how it is trying to tackle this situation, what actions are going to be taken, everything. And in fact, yesterday was a question hour. People were asking me questions in the Rajya Sabha, and I have applied to each and every answer to them. It was not like I was just placing a statement. Today I placed a statement, but yesterday was question hour. Everyone had ample amount of time to ask the questions that they needed to ask. Even if the question was not pertaining to this, I told them, let us discuss this issue. I explained it to them, and all the questions I've answered. What is the problem there? What is problem with there?
Have you satisfied the opposition?
I feel I've satisfied the people of the country in the actions that we are taking, and definitely I believe that what is also going to come in the next few days is going to be on the side of the people of the country. I am more concentrated on the people and the passengers more than the opposition. Whatever they are asking, I think we are doing much better than that, much more than that.
Well, on that note, Mr. Naidu, thank you very much for taking every question on the chin, responding to them. पर मैं अभी कहूंगी, this is unfinished agenda. आपने कहा 15 दिन का समय है।
आप नहीं बोलते तो मैं ही बोलता हूँ, unfinished agenda है।
नहीं
अभी तक जो है,
पर ये कॉन्वर्सेशन 12 दिन बाद, क्योंकि 3 दिन हो गए, 12 दिन बाद रिपोर्ट आएगी। We still wait for answers. 15 days.
There are still plugs to be filled up, holes to be filled up. Everything will going to be there. Each and everything will be properly addressed, and all the things that I have mentioned is already there on our table, and we are all going to come out with proper answers for each and every one of them. And also, especially, the action is something which I am very hell-bent on doing, and definitely we are going to take strict action on them.
Well, we'll wait as a country, as a people. We will wait for that action to happen, because clearly there will be no closure for people of India until and unless action is taken by you, by the ministry, by the government. We'll leave it at that, but I'll be back. And I want your promise that 12 days from now, when the report comes, you will once again freely and frankly speak with me and answer our questions.
No doubt about it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohan Naidu, for joining me on Frankly.
Thank you.